Uh, Good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending upon where you are in the world. On behalf of the Poultry Professionals Society and under the umbrella of our Global Poultry Health Initiative, I extend a very warm welcome to each of you in this today's live global panel titled Poultry Diseases Frontline. Uh, I am Mohammed Syam Akram, the founder, president of Poultry Professionals Society, and your moderator for this important conversation. I'm also the lead organizer of today's program. It's truly an honor to facilitate this vital exchange of knowledge, bridging continents and disciplines on one platform. So, this timely session brings together leading experts from across the globe to explore the evolving challenges and frontiers in poultry disease management, especially focusing on highly pathogenic avian influenza, emerging genomic tools like metagenomics, vaccination strategies, and innate immune responses, and the growing implications of antimicrobial resistance through One Health lens. The poultry sector today stands as the cross section of innovation, disease threats, and global health as professional academicians, industry leaders, and researchers. Our collective efforts are more critical than ever. So, we are joined today by an esteemed and diverse panel of experts, Dr. Jos Quintoris, from the University of Sydney, Australia. Dr. Muhammad Ruhaim from the University, Lancaster University, UK, and he is also serving as associate professor in Cairo University, Egypt. We are also joined by Dr. Kulidia Krizostek from the University of Georgia, USA, Dr. Aisha Riaz, Arid Agriculture University, Pakistan, and Dr. Fahan Frug as our poultry industry representative for this today's session. Our panelists will each deliver concise experts insights in their respective domains, followed by our panel discussion and an interactive question and answer segment. We strongly encourage all participants to stay engaged, take notes, and drop your questions in the chat box. During the session, please also note that the background reading material provided for this session are derived from abstracts and conclusions of leading global studies. For deeper insights, kindly refer to the citation included in the source section. So before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. Please keep your mics muted during the presentations. The session is being recorded and will be available as post-event for your reference on our social media pages. So without further ado, it's my privilege to invite our program chair, Professor Dr. Muhammad Kashif Salimi, the Director, Poultry Health Consultancy Committee, PHCC of PPS, and a respected figure in veterinary academia to deliver the welcome address. So over to you, Dr. Kashif Salimi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Syam. I am audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. It is with a great pleasure and a deep sense of professional commitment that I welcome all distinguished participants, fellow colleagues, researchers, industry experts to today's live global panel, Poultry Disease Frontline. This is the flagship event of Poultry Professionals Society with the initiatives of poultry health. In today's interconnected world, poultry diseases such as highly pathogenic avian influenza and the global threat of AMR demand not just the localized responses, but a unified and multidisciplinary solution. Because HPAI nowadays is a big challenge for the global poultry industry, and you have experienced the outbreaks even in advanced countries. This event is a humble yet firm step in the direction. I am truly honored to acknowledge the presence of our expert panel for today. As Syam has already introduced, We have Dr. Quintus from the Sydney, Dr. Rahim from Dr. Mohammed Munir Group. He is also working in the Cairo University. Dr. Claudia, Dr. Shariaz, and Dr. Farhan is representing Pakistan poultry industry. So this is a wonderful panel, and I extend my heartfelt felt appreciation to Siam Muhammad Siam Akram, the founder and president of PPS, for remarkable dedication, leadership, and he is a truly inspirational person who organized this wonderful event. And his vision and initiative have created this platform, really connecting the young scientists with the experienced people in the industry. I also recognize the support of PPS, Poultry Health Consultancy Committee, under which this initiative is framed. And today we are organizing this wonderful event. May this session inspire practical solution, scientific inquiry, and lasting collaboration to strengthen the global poultry health. And I think this is a truly of example that we should think globally and act locally. So I wish you all an enriching and impactful discussion, and I hope we all will learn from our learned panel of the speakers. Thank you very much. It is over to you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Muhammad Kashif Salimi, for a very nice welcome address to our today's panel discussion on Poultry Diseases Frontline. So, to begin our technical session, we are honored to hear from Dr. Jose Quinteros, lecturer and researcher in poultry health at the University of Sydney, Australia. He will present on the overview of avian influenza, its epidemiology, economic implications, and forward-looking perspectives. So before Dr. Jose Quinteros begins, I just want to introduce or giving you a very brief introduction of Dr. Jose Quinteros. He is a distinguished poultry veterinarian with over 2 decades of experience in avian health, spanning both the poultry industry and academic research. He earned his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Chile in 2004 and began his career as a field veterinarian at Superwall as a part of the Agro Super Child's largest food producer. There, he gained hands-on experience managing turkey health, focusing on disease such as fowl cholera, avian influenza, and Ornithobacterium infections. In 2012, Dr. Quinteros moved to Australia to pursue Master of Veterinary Sciences at the University of Melbourne, where he was the first to sequence the complete genome of an Australian strain of infectious bronchitis virus, IBV. He later returned to Melbourne for his PhD, during which he sequenced 19 IBV strains and explored their pathogenicity and tissue tropism. Dr. Quinteros has held key roles in poultry health management at Baida Poultry and in research at Scolicia Private Limited, contributing to innovating studies on spotty liver disease, salmonella vaccines, and feed additives. He was the first to report a link between Campylobacter hepaticus infection and reduced egg weight. In 2021, he returned to Chile to lead the veterinary school at the University of Vina del Mar, where he significantly improved academic outcomes and student satisfaction. Today, Dr. Quinteros serves as the lecturer in avian health at the University of Sydney, Australia, continuing his commitment to advancing poultry health through research, teaching, and industry collaboration. So I would like to thank you to Dr. Jose Quinteros for joining us today. So the floor's over to you, Dr. Jose Quinteros.
Thank you. Can you hear me well? Can you confirm that? Yes. All right. Thank you so much for the invitation today. And just a very brief and minor clarification. The name is pronounced Jose because it's in Spanish, but that's right. It's Jose Quintero. But that's totally fine. I totally understand. I'm gonna share my presentation with you today. Yeah. and it should be ready to be seen. All right. I hope you can that you can see the presentation properly. Am I right?
No, we cannot see.
All right. Give me a second. Then I'm gonna try to correct that. I think I need to pick.
Dr. Jose,
No.
I have made you
Yes.
the host access. Now you can share
Uh,
your
give me-
presentation.
I'm sorry.
I have made you the host for this meeting. You can share your
All right.
presentation.
So I can share the presentation. All right. Excellent. It's screen number 2 actually. Uh, all right. There it goes. So can you see now the
Yes,
presentation?
perfect. Perfect, Dr. Jose.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's good to hear. Thanks, Mohammed. My talk is going to be about avian influenza and what is the current scenario. It's talking about avian influenza even if it's restricted to H5N1 subtype, it's a subject that you can talk for days, probably, and being restricted to 15 minutes, which is fine. It's a real challenge. But I'll try to put or contextualize and give the main like more a broad view about this disease and what are the implications. And yes, you can ask further questions if something was left out and you're curious about it. So the first thing is that I'm gonna present the virus itself. So what's the influenza virus, and how it's divided and classified, so to better understand the stock. Then what's the difference between H5N1 and other types of avian influenza? And also, what's the impact that avian influenza? Oh, I didn't correct that. In one health and the economic impact of the disease. So, the etiology of avian influenza belongs to the Automyxoviridae family. It's a segmented negative sense enveloped RNA virus, which means that it has different um, pieces of RNA that encode the whole genome. That is important because it's segmented, and reassortment and recombination can happen, especially reassortment, which means that if you have two avian influenza or any influenza viruses, if influenza A viruses infecting two different strains the same cell, some like reassortment or rearranging of the different pieces can happen to lead to the emergence of new variant. It's classified in related classification. It's related to the hemagglutinin and neuraminidase surface proteins, and that's where the H and N in their subtypes comes from, and the H and N, the surface proteins of the virus. There are approximately 18 H and 11 N proteins, types of proteins described so far, and that can lead to approximately 144 different combinations of H's and N's to give different subtypes. It's the main reservoir of the disease is waterfall and shorebirds, and that includes anseriformes, ducks, geese, and swans, and also caridriformes, waders, and gulls. And usually these reservoirs do not exhibit any clinical symptoms. They don't get sick out of it, except or just until we got the emergence of the H5N1 in 2021. That is a current headache for all poultry producers and poultry enthusiasts around the world, except in Australia, of course, which is the only continent that we don't have H5N1. But in the rest of the world, is the one that is causing massive problems. And what the diagnostic testing for influenza is from samples taken from organs like from sorry, in if it's from a live animal, um, the sooner the samples are taken, the better. It normally constituted by live in live births by cloacal and tracheal swabs, or from fresh feces and from blood serum. And in dead birds, if you have the privilege, if you can count with them, tissues from the alimentary tract and respiratory tract are the best. The samples should be initially sent to state or territory diagnostic laboratories in Australia, because avian influenza it's a disease that you have to report to the World Health Organization of Animal Health, and that's mandatory. Real-time PCR or qPCR, it can be used recently for a rapid detection of H7 or H5 types, and serology can be performed from flocks or surrounding flocks around the infected areas, just to find evidence of infection and the spreading of the disease. And also, antibody testing can be done. Agar gel diffusion presentation test, or ELISA. It has to be H5, so HPAI. It needs to be this like you need to go to differential diagnosis, and that's, you should suspect that you are affected by avian influenza every time you have sudden death happening in birds. However, it's not the only disease that causes such very severe and unexpected outbreaks, with a lot of dead animals. Like, I don't know, like fall cholera could cause something very similar, or Newcastle disease. Bacteriology should be performed just to exclude exactly all the diseases that can induce sudden death in birds, like bacterial septicemia, and also to identify mixed infections when you could have low pathogenic avian influenza and a bacteria together. So if you run a PCR, or run a simple test for avian influenza, you might find it, but that doesn't mean that it's the cause. It's not hail pathogenic necessarily, and the cause of the massive death could be a mixed infection. Other causes of um, dropping egg production could be other diseases like ectopic syndrome 76, and all the diseases that can cause a similar disease and have reservoirs in wild birds. Influenza Newcastle are very, very much alike, very hard to distinguish between each other. They are all both very bad. However, avian influenza have more economic implications. And a few diseases that you need to rule out when you are dealing with something that looks like avian influenza must be mycoplasma, fall cholera, as I previously explained, E. coli, ILT, in coryza, avian chlamydiosis, or chlamydia psittaci, good poisoning. Yeah, sometimes, for example, I got, in my experience, a case of food poisoning in turkeys with some toxicides that are used in chickens, included in the diet by mistake, and those toxicides were toxic for turkey, and we have massive deaths in a shed, and that was due to acute poisoning. And yeah, all the misadventure costs of high mortality, which might include smothering, heat stress, dehydration, etc. And this is roughly how a bird with any influenza might look like edema in the head, nasal discharge. Most of the time, it's blood color discharge. You can have some hematomas all over the body, but more visible in the legs. And you could have like a septicemic appearance of the organs, liver, duodenum, in this case, heart. You can see that contamination everywhere. That might be contaminated everywhere and look hyperemic and inflamed, and also this is also typical of sudden death syndromes, where you have petechia of the fat, and can be seen very easily around the heart, the fat around the heart, and also in the visceral fat you can find petechia. Sorry, there's an open microphone there. Now, what's the difference between H5N1 and other AI subtypes? What makes it so special? Well, that the emergence of this H5N1 have changed everything, including the paradigm that was ruling the avian influenza world over the last decade. The classical way or historical scenario to see avian influenza is that normally wild birds would carry low pathogenic avian influenza without causing any problems to them, of course. And then from that low pathogenic one got into the farms and infect the poultry. Due to the massive numbers that are located in the farms, rapid replication happens, which means that that leads to more chances for reassortment or mutations that finally lead to the emergence of highly pathogenic avian influenza in those farms. And then that highly pathogenic causes death in those farms, and then it's spread to other farms or spread by people or trucks to surrounding farms, and that's how it might be spread. And that was this historical scenario. Of course, you have to start the cycle here, but that's a different story. And the new scenario of H5N1 is that now wild birds not only carry low pathogenic influenza, they also carry the highly pathogenic avian influenza, which what could mean is that they can directly infect chickens in a poultry farm and cause death immediately because they're receiving the highly pathogenic one, or through the same historical scenario of mutation, and then spread to other farms or get reinfected other farms through the same wild birds that are carrying the highly pathogenic one. And definitely the most threatening and scary scenario this time is that with this H5N1 is that now wild birds can infect mammals, and mammals transmit the disease with each other and cause disease and death. Sea mammals, the one of the examples in wildlife, but also now it's been identified causing disease and serious economic problems in dairy cattle in the United States, particularly. So the change in paradigm is that the wild birds that carry the low pathogenic, that was the old paradigm, infected birds and died due to mutations. But now, what could happen is that when you have H5N1 infect the poultry, they died, and then also the wild birds died. And that is causing massive depopulations or massive populations, like a decrease in the populations of some avian species. Like a best example is the Peruvian pelican in South America, where the population have decreased to half due to this outbreak. Other differences is that that now we have, as I mentioned before, we have some problems in dairy cattle in the United States. Now, even humans can contract the disease and when infected when in contact with dairy cows. So it's a problem. And sorry, I got that. And it's transmitted through raw milk. So that's why for some time to time in the United States was forbidden the sale of raw milk. And now a study has confirmed, there was an old study from last year, that mammal to mammal transmission of H5N1. This is
Excuse me,
very, very,
Dr. Jose, I'm
yep.
sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting. Please share your presentation again. It is not.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
We cannot see your presentation. I don't know,
Yeah, it seems
technical
like
problem or what.
yeah, it seems like something happened that it stopped like it looked something looked odd, but he didn't know that it got dropped. Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm sorry about that. My apologies. So sorry, let me go back. So I was saying that now there's a study that confirms mammal-to-mammal transmission, which is a bit scary for us humans. Uh, and this is a very up-to-date graph from the United States. And this is dairy cattle farms that have been infected. As you can see, it's a very current problem in the United States. In the last 30 days, there have been 2 states affected by avian influenza in dairy cows. And this is all the states that have been affected by avian influenza in dairy cows exclusively in the United States since this outbreak started. It's more than or roughly the half of that country, probably the more where the more dairy cattle is concentrated. This is the area where the poultry is actually concentrated. So um, it's exclusive of cows. And yes, so all the latest news is that H5N1 has been detected in sheep. It was in a farm that was also producing poultry, so that will explain a bit why this particular case. And not long ago, this year in May, like a few days ago, there was a massive loss of 1.5 million hens due to avian influenza in Arizona, United States. That's one of the latest problems. And the USDA, and these are the confirmed cases in the last 30 days. As you can see here, in May, 3 farms, commercial flocks were affected, 8 backyard flocks. But the massive thing is that just in the United States last month, 3.85 million birds were affected by avian influenza, which means that it's a current problem. It's been running for more than 4 years with this variant, and it's definitely causing a big headache to the poultry industry all around the world. And what is its impact in human health? Uh, so humans aberrant host, and we do not transmit the infection yet, and all of the study cases in humans have been close contact with infected poultry. However, there's a risk of spillover in humans that might lead to a new pandemic, which is the biggest fear that we all have. And it's actually hard for humans to catch avian influenza right now, nowadays, but it's not risk it. Um, yeah, some there. So and yes, it's very hard to. Yeah, so people have asked me, it's like, what happened if there is avian influenza, like what happened in Australia with H7 variant? Can we eat a poultry? Yeah, it's safe. When meat is cooked, you should be more worried about um, um, salmonella than than avian influenza. Then it's a more certain risk of disease for humans than avian influenza. But anyway, risk is not absent. And now there's a growing fear in the population about avian influenza jumping from humans to humans, and that's something that's been worrying a lot of people. Actually, there was a person in the U.S. that died from avian influenza at the beginning of this year. He was a person that has comorbidities, which means that he had all the disease problems, all the health problems, but nonetheless, it's a scary scenario. Also, there's the European Union of Agencies in January this year. They declare that their studies in the European Union recognize 34 mutations in avian influenza, which are associated with surface proteins that in 34 of those are listed like phenotypic changes that might increase the mammalian capacity or the virus attachment. And so basically, it's increasing the chances of human to human transmission. What are the recommendations from the agencies? Like do genetic analysis wherever you have an outbreak. Uh, perform animal surveillance constant all the time, and public health surveillance as well. So which subtypes are circulating as this is are related with poultry. Prevention, biosecurity is one of the main and most important measures. Vaccination, it's definitely going to be when we have, and if we have a human vaccine, but nonetheless, having all the vaccines is important. All the influenza vaccines are important. And I don't know why I have my hand raised. Anyway, and ignore that. Ah, here I can slow it down. My reactions. No. Anyway, and public health preparedness and measures. So raise awareness in the population about the risk of avian influenza. And so other general considerations, that all people that work with poultry should get vaccinated against avian flu. H1N1 is a good one to be vaccinated against. It doesn't matter if it's not H5N7 because we don't have it. It's not important. The important thing is that if we are vaccinated, chances of having influenza are low. And if we get H5N1 by any means, recombination or reassortment is less problematic. Um, and vaccinate with H5N1 if you have the chance. And Moderna was developing an mRNA vaccine. As it says here, up to July last year, the government of the United States and Moderna were developing an mRNA-based avian flu vaccine. Was going really well until it was canceled with the new government because they deemed that under tested and safety concerns. Well, we all know that and that the current administration of the United States were never a good friend of vaccination against anything. COVID-19 was not a very welcome vaccine in the United States at the time by the current president. So it doesn't surprise me that mRNA vaccine development is being stopped, which is concerning as like very, very upsetting and concerning for everyone, considering how the virus is behaving. And that's was a massive project that was canceled after rigorous review. We concluded that continued investment in Moderna's H5N1 mRNA vaccine was not scientifically or ethically justifiable. That would say the United States, which is, as I said, a very complicated situation. And what is the economic impact? So it's very significant. Every time that happens an outbreak, the market closes, and anyone that is not vaccinated don't want to receive any bird from a country that has even influenza or is even vaccinated. So vaccine is not allowed. If you vaccinate, you also are blocked from exporting. Other commodities are also affected: eggs, poultry, avian semen, for example, for turkey production, eggs products, everything, eggshells, everything is stopped if you have avian influenza. Every market is closed for you. So it's a very, very important situation. And the most current problem in the country, in the world, that includes at least Australia and the United States. I don't know the situation in other countries. Is that after losing a lot of birds, there's an egg shortage. In Australia, it happens that you go to the supermarkets, sometimes to the experts the last year and this year after the outbreak of HPAI, and it was really hard to find eggs to eat. So why there's an egg shortage in when that happens? When you have HPAI, your layers are affected, and you have to go to massive population due to biosecurity concern. So how long takes for to replace that flock that was euthanized due to avian influenza? Well, incubation in chickens takes 21 days. Then rearing those recently hatched the chickens would take at least 16 to 17 weeks. Then just move to production farm, and then to reach the peak of lay in production take about 6 more weeks. And that accounts for 26 weeks, which is about 6 months. And that is an ideal scenario when you could have as many 1 day old pigs as you want, but that's not the case. The hatcheries have a delivery capacity, which means that in a case of avian influenza, when you're not the only one affected, probably several farms are affected, and millions of birds euthanized, means that there's no capacity to replace all the flocks at once. And also you have to prove that you are free of the disease. So uh, all the stamp out of the farm, all the cleaning, disinfection. So we're talking about here no short than 1 year, I would say. So that's why you have it. Even influenza and you have a shortage for a long period of time. And that have taken the prices in the US egg prices, which are really expensive. In Australia, same thing. And actually, on this administration in the United States are trying to get help from other countries to get more eggs. So it's like they can provide um, that vital, very, very basic, high quality protein to everyone in the population. And yeah, Americans love their eggs for breakfast. Same thing in Australia. So egg shortage is a massive, massive problem uh, due to avian influenza. And yes, so that's how the supermarket looks in US and in Australia as well. Get to the supermarket and you're lucky if you find one dozen of eggs there. It's not that serious now in Australia, but it was. I can tell you that more than a time I went to the supermarket and there was not a single egg to buy. I'm glad that at the university we have actually production blocks that we keep constantly here, so I have access to our own eggs every now and then, so I don't get short of eggs ever. And that's it. That's my presentation for today. So I think I don't know if they're gonna have a Q&A at the end, I think. So thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed the.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jaws Kantoras, for a wonderful presentation and a well-rounded structure of your presentation. So